Last night their Majesties dined amid the gilded splendour of Versailles, but today unfortunately Palace Confidential viewers have to make do with a slightly less glamorous backdrop of my hotel room curtains. But after a whirlwind of events on the first day of their state visit to France, there is only one way to describe things: Magnifique. That's actually how King Charles described the warmest of welcomes that he and Queen Camilla received after landing in Paris. Now, for a couple in their 70s, they are packing in the engagements, 22 in just 2.5 days. Now, yesterday was full and pomp and ceremony. After their official arrival, Charles and Camilla, who was a pop of colour in Fiona Clare and Philip Tracy, made their way to the Arc de Triomphe, where there was a really spectacular welcome ceremony involving their host, President Macron, and his wife, Bridget Macron, which culminated in a spectacular flypast by the British Red Arrows and their French counterparts. There were bilateral meetings, tree plantings, and even cries of Vive le Roi during an impromptu walkabout, which I suspect is the first time France has heard that phrase in several hundred years. And there's no doubt that President Macron, who of course was forced to postpone this state visit from earlier on this year amid huge civil unrest in France, was rolling out the red carpet for King Charles. In fact, from my ringside seat, I observed nothing but the warmest of relationships between the two men. And that goes for their wives too. Apparently, Madame Macron is an avid follower of the British royal family in French magazines. And I saw her very courteously help Queen Camilla, not just down the steps at the Elysee Palace, but when they were on the red carpet at Versailles last night, Camilla's beautiful Dior cape slightly fell off her shoulder. And I watched as Madame Macron very sweetly helped her rectify it so they could turn around and face the cameras together. The state visit of King Charles and Queen Camilla has moved to Bordeaux. Now, first, a quick recap of events in Paris yesterday. There was an absolute wealth of engagement. The keynote moment, of course, was King Charles's speech to the French Senate, where he became the first member of the British royal family to be invited in to address delegates. And he gave a very well-received speech, earned him 2 standing ovations, highlighting the complicated history between France and the United Kingdom over the years, but emphasising how the two countries had always been there for each other in times of trouble and needed to continue to unite over issues such as climate change and Ukraine. After the Senate, the Majesties went on to pack in a further 7 engagements in Paris on the second day of their state visit, which I do think is a remarkable timetable, given they're a couple well into their 70s. And we saw everything from King Charles getting the giggles as he made Mexican jewellery at a craft centre that's associated with his Prince's Foundation in the UK. But I think the standout moment was Queen Camilla challenging Madame Macron, President Macron's wife, to a game of le ping pong. I think it's fair to say she is a rudimentary player, but she was very enthusiastic about it, and I think it provided some of the best pictures of the day. And to sum up the experience in Paris, I think the one thing that was very, very clear is what a warm relationship King Charles and President Macron are developing. And I think this is where the royal family's much talked about power of soft diplomacy comes in. They can foster good relationships with other countries in a way that politicians simply cannot. Now, as I said, today events move to Bordeaux on the last day of this state visit. I can't reveal too much about it in advance because there's a lot of security arrangements surrounding this side of the visit, because there's going to be a lot of very public moments. But they are going to be out and about, meeting as many people as they can. This is an area for a great number of British expats, so they'll be meeting a lot of those. There'll be events to publicise Britain in terms of its culture, its food and its trade links with France. And there'll be a fantastic moment where they'll be visiting a biodynamic vineyard to sample some of what the best of France has to offer as well.